Hi, this is a Minute of Overpass. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now this week I want to talk about should you use your personal name or your company name on your developer profile. Okay, so last week two people asked me the same question, so I thought that was kind of strange. I mean, if that's not a topic for the week, then I don't know what is. But so I thought I'd talk about it this week. So the question was: is it better to have like a company name on your App Store profiles or a personal name? So, for example, is it better that I use Overpass Apps or is it better that I use Eric Ruley? And my answer to both of them was kind of the same. It kind of comes down to personal preference, right? For me, I think it looks more professional for me to use a company name, Overpass Apps, because it's more branded. It gives the impression that it's a lot bigger than just a single developer. I mean, Overpass now is more than just a single developer, but when I started, it was just me, right? So, and I think it's something that you could do even if you don't have a company, like just start creating a brand identity. But I want to show you something else that I've done, or that we've done over the past couple of years, which you might find interesting. So here's our Google Play page here. So you'll see that Overpass. So here's my biggest app, EarSpy, which I talk about probably every week because that's the most downloads. Although Korean Flash Quiz is really rising. So you see here, for the longest time we just called it Overpass Apps, right? So it was Overpass Apps, for a while it was called Overpass Limited. But what I saw somebody else do this, and I kind of copied it. They actually put like a subtitle after their name. So here you can see we changed it from Overpass Apps to Overpass Apps : Superhuman Apps and Games, right? And what my whole goal there was not to increase discoverability, but it was more to like if somebody's looking at this one because it's the big app, I want them to say, oh, that sounds interesting, and I want them to click through and go to the developer page and look at some of the other apps that we have available. So that was the whole thing. So just to give it a little bit of sex appeal and all that kind of stuff, and it was so easy. I mean, there's different ways that you have to kind of play with the length of names that you can use. I mean, you may know this already, but let me just go through this again. On Google Play, for an app title, you only get like 30 characters. So if I show you, some of our apps here, you'll see Agent X, Algebra, and Math. So we're truly trying to max out the keywords in the title. So you could call it something that's like 4 or 5 characters long, but that doesn't quite, you want to, like if your app is about music, you might include music in there. If it's about Star Trek or whatever, you want to get the word Star Trek in there. Although I don't think you're actually allowed to do that, copyright. But so you try to fill out as much as you can. So here, and play around with, if you have a free version and a pro version, like here, Agent X, Algebra, and Math, Agent X, Algebra Spies. When I first released those, we just called it Agent X. So it wasn't very findable because nobody's going to search on Agent X. Now the description could have all that in there too. Now, iTunes, on the other hand, they give you like loads of characters. I think it's might be 255 or 100 or whatever. So if I show you some of our apps here, so I'll find the same one here. Agent X, right? Here's Agent X. Now check out this title. This is a keyword stuff title. Now this doesn't mean that it goes underneath the icon. The icon still says Agent X, but here we go. Agent X, stop a rogue agent by solving algebra equations, full version, or free version or whatever. So I try to play around with different keywords to see how they work out. You want to kind of use as much as you can. Okay, let me just get this in here real quick because I forgot to mention it earlier. iTunes will reject your account if they think that you're stuffing too many keywords in there. So it's a very fine line. You kind of have to experiment with little things, and you have to be ready to have them reject it and say, sorry, you're too many keywords in the title, or the title's too long, or something like that. And then you just have to say, oh yeah, okay, all right, and then fix it. So what I would say is, when you release your first app, go for just the title, and then when you start to release some updates just to increase your keyword usage, at that point, then try to build up on that, kind of push the limits a little bit. Now, when I go back, let's go back to this name here, Overpass Apps, Superhuman Apps and Games. My goal there was not to increase discoverability. My goal was when people land on this page, I want them to be interested, or even if they're not interested in this app, I want something to catch their eye and they go off to someplace else. However, and I don't know if it increases discoverability or not. But the fact that Google is a search algorithm and it searches web page content, if your company, or if you specialize in, say, music apps or a special kind of apps, it would make sense to put some of those keywords into your name as well, right? I mean, you have lots of room to play there with. So that's, I just kind of wanted to share with you that. First of all, should you put a personal name or a company name? I always think I always think the company name sounds better. But it's up to you. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, then just put Bob Johnson. I mean, if that's your name, or whatever name there. So, but yeah, this is something that I saw somebody else do it, and I want the click-throughs to be, if they're not interested in this, I want them to go to something else, and I want them to see that brand. Now, if I show you over on iTunes, that's something we didn't do from the beginning. I'm not sure how to change that. So if you know, please let me know. But here we still have at the beginning, Overpass Limited, all lowercase. I hate the fact that it says that and I can't change it, although I haven't really looked around enough to make that change. So maybe it isn't. So thanks, and thanks everybody for the commenting on my last video on the car and all that kind of stuff. Really appreciate it. And a couple weeks ago, I talked about Snapchat, and I'm trying to do more things on Snapchat, because it's new, and I'm trying to be young and trendy and all that kind of stuff. And we have quite a few followers. So and so what I'm doing is I'm just I'm showing each day what my ad mob looks like, what some of the app stats are, if some of the day-to-day client interactions. So let me just give you, I'll just show for a few seconds here what some things we talked about this week, and it's pretty much, it's not as prepared as Minute of Overpass, if you could call it that, but it's just sort of like ongoing. So let's have a look. So check out this nice clean office, right? Everything, I cleaned off the desk and everything, and it's a little bit sparse still, but there's my green screen. In fact, the biggest problem when I talk to people who have had an app, or they come talk to me about developing a new app, or they have an app out there, is that they can't get it marketed properly. Yeah, I didn't finish everything I thought I was going to finish. I'm a little bit behind, having some trouble with Ionic orientation and just getting a landscape orientation, but other than that, everything's going well. Okay, so my revenue for yesterday was 97 pounds, so near the 100 pound mark. Yeah, so close, so close. Currently, I'm reading Mastering the Complex Sale, which I got on the plane the other day. It's pretty boring and pretty dry, but it's also really, really good information. Now, the reason I read this book and so many other sales books and marketing books and social media books is because app development is more than just about apps. Anyway, if you are on Snapchat, or if you're looking to try out Snapchat, which is exactly what I'm doing, please go ahead and give me a follow. Here's the snap code here. The name is eric.ruley, and it'll be nice to be able to keep up with you. And the thing about Snapchat is that the messages are only there for like 24 hours. So a lot of the stuff I put out there, it's no longer available. So if you're watching this video a year from now, say it's 2017, I might not be on Snapchat anymore. I mean, maybe I got tired of it, but for right now, that's what I'm trying. So also, I want to mention our website. If you haven't looked at the Overpass website, if you're into app development, every Tuesday we put out an infographic, which is about different things like how to get your Google Play account banned and all this kind of stuff. And it's pretty interesting. You might want to check it out. It's up www.overpass.co.uk/blog. And every Tuesday we got that infographic, which you're free to share or post or all that kind of stuff. So, wow, there's a lot of plugs this week. So that's it for this week. I'll talk to you next week. Hey, I really hope you liked that video. Now I do these once a week, so if you want to hear more, or you want to hear more about our experiences with the App Store, either Google Play or iTunes, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and please like this video and leave a comment. I love reading the comments. I love hearing what you have to say, even if it's just hello or whatever. And like I say before, if you're not sure what to say in a comment, like I never know what to say in a comment, I'll make it easier for you. Like if you liked it, just go ahead and say gnarly, which is an 80s term, or if you didn't like it, just say bogus, and if you didn't think any of it, just say eh, right? So that would be a big
big help. And another thing you could do, which I'd really appreciate it, if you're on the App Store and you want to try one of our apps, look up some of the Overpass apps, applications either on iTunes or Google Play, and leave a review and let us know what you think about it, either good or bad. But it's we're all trying to build up in the market, so that would be a big help. So that's it. I'll talk to you next week.